And I'll come back to It's My Life. Now, today we're talking about money and work. Is that all there is to life? With us we've got Penny Rimbaud. You're an anarchist, aren't you, Penny?
I am indeed, yeah.
Now, Mike's over there, he's getting castigated for having a point of view which doesn't fit in with the norm. I mean, why do you think that is? Why are people so anti anybody who thinks, well, I don't really believe
Well, I think there's one or two sort of fundamental flaws in the arguments that have been put forward here. I mean, once or twice Mike's been asked or told, well, you're using our taxes. Frankly, I'd prefer my taxes to go towards someone like Mike to live a decent, respectful life, which he obviously has. He doesn't want to conform to the standards which many of you seem to want to conform to, but just remember when you're wagging your finger at the dole that unemployment actually is a government policy. The capitalist system requires its unemployed, and it will create its unemployed. We've seen that time and time again. Those are the sort of fundamental flaws in the sort of moral argument, if that's what you're coming forward with, which I think you really ought to be looking at, not casting finger pointing at, you know, some relatively innocent member of our society.
I mean, obviously, you were getting quite upset by some of the things that people were saying to you before, Mike. I mean, why do you think they do feel so strongly about it? Particularly, what Tristan and Andre there.
Perhaps because it's all they know. They've been brought up to feel this way and have never questioned anything that they're given. I don't know, I can't speak for them, and I wish they'd stop speaking for me.
Ethan, you want to say something there?
But it sounds of it here, you're trying to say, or it sounds as if you're trying to say that it's trying to sponge off all of us, okay? Now, if you look
at a middle-class sort of point of view, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it happens to be the same class as I come from. I think one of the uses of privilege, if that's what we're talking about, is to employ privilege to those who don't have it. It always insults me to see people using privilege for their own ends, for their own means. The very point of an education, to my mind, is to broaden your privilege, your advantage, as widely within society as possible, and that happens to be a downward movement in terms of sort of social judgment. It's an absolute abuse of the sort of privileged education I've had to employ myself as a businessman. There are the needy, there are the people who have deprived lives, and the only use of my education and my background is to take that, everything I can to them, be it money, be it words, be it anything that I own, and I actually believe that in his way is what Mike's attempting to do. He hasn't come up with saying it, but he's certainly saying that to me before we came on the show.
Okay, well, listen, we're going to be talking more about this, but after the break we're going to be talking to this young lady here, Rachel, and Rachel's, well, she says that she doesn't actually want to be rich, and you can find out why and what her plan is after the break.
Because you're in business, because you're serving part of the capitalist system. You actually said that Mike wasn't respectable. I'd rather like you to define exactly what you mean by respectable. What exactly are you giving society? In what way are you helping us, the people who actually live within this society?
The people we employ are obviously, they're paying their taxes, we were saying before, therefore we're creating this wealth. But you see, we confuse the words.
No, sorry, excuse me, which wealth are you creating? Are the people who work for you getting wealthy?
Well, it's definition of wealth, isn't it?
Are they getting comparatively wealthy to yourself?
They should be, I mean, yes.
I don't think so. I think you were introduced as a millionaire second time round.
Trying.
How many have you got on your staff that sort of have those aspirations, or hope, or chance?
They've all got the same wealth as me at the moment, because I'm trying again. Will
they have in 2 years if you succeed?
Absolutely.
I don't think so. Have you
I'm
got
not here
common
to
share?
defend that now, but actually I could defend
They're
that.
shareholders. They're all shareholders in your company.
Every single person in the company.
Well, we've got a moral capitalist amongst us, and I'm glad to meet you. There are few, and you're an exception.
I mean, Tristan, you're looking all very disapproving of all this anarchy and, you know, I mean, would you do what Rachel does and work for nothing? And
I think it's a fantastic ideal, and if you, I think What it is basically, if you can support yourself and you can buy your own clothes, buy your own food...
We're constantly talking about a society. What is this society? A tiny amount of the wealth of this society is in the hands of a minute number of people. Meanwhile, thousands upon millions of people are living horrifically underprivileged lives. They're not given an education, they're not given a health service, they're not given bugger all. And yet this is the society. What is this dream we're talking about? What is the it that we're working towards? What is it? Do we want to be a part of those horrific monsters sitting at the top there, writing their cheques to nowhere? I don't personally. I think I am a member of society, and those guys up there, they're the people who've dropped out because they've never dropped in. They've never got real to the fact that there's some importance about life beyond slavery of millions upon millions of people. 3/4 of the world are starving, and we talk about a society.
Yeah, I was going to say, what was it, the richest 365 people in the world earn more than the poorest 1 billion, so it's quite frightening, really. Well, we've heard what our audience have to say about money and work, and for the final word tonight we'll go to our key guests, Mike and Simon. Mike, a lot of people, I mean, there are quite a few people on your side as well out there. Do you think that, I mean, what do you think about your place in society now, from what you've heard of what people had to say out there, a lot of different opinions?
I think you talk a lot about society that in reality doesn't exist. This is something that the government tells you exists and you're forced to believe it. If there was any society, people wouldn't treat each other the way they do. You can't walk down the street without somebody giving you dirty looks or something, and you can't walk out of your house without thinking, oh, am I ready to go out? That's not society. This is what you believe society is. It's just other people's perceptions of you. And none of you are in any way trying to work on what's inside yourself, who you are. You're trying to do things for other people.
So live your life through the eyes of other people, or almost like the way perhaps you're brainwashed. Are you brainwashed and living your life through other people's perceptions of you, Simon?
I'm doing virtually everything for me. So I won't say I'm being brainwashed by society. What I took from the debate, though, was there was this thing about money and ambition. You can be ambitious and not look for money. Money's not the driving force in my life. My driving force is to be happy.
Okay, and you get the final word tonight, Mike.
Well, I find, from talking to Simon, I found him an incredibly nice person and a decent human being. He has no problem with the way I live my life. He has no problem with me or people like me, because he is a respectable, open-minded citizen who maybe does want some money, wants a bit of success, but that's just his idea of success. He understands that not all people want the same sort of success.
It'd be a boring world if we did.
Yep.
Listen, thanks a lot, Mike. Thank you, Simon. Well, you can be sure that whatever anyone else says, both Mike and Simon are going to go down the road they choose. That's the message that's coming out from today's discussions. Young people are not going to do what other people tell them. They're going to decide for themselves. So next time from It's My Life, think positive and goodbye.